This way. Solo. We play solo until something. I told everyone my friends are online. Because I think, wait, what the heck was that? What did I just pull up? How did I do that? Oh, that's it, I did. Oh, shader pack. Voice chat. Just reloaded. Oh. Okay. Damn. I have to wait. I just got back from work and I got a boba. I'm tired as fuck. Boba does sound good right now. I'm not gonna lie. What's up, Feeny? Good morning. How are you, Feeny? What's up, Doggo, by the way? I did an all-nighter last night before I slept, so 15 hours. Jesus Christ, dude. All right. Am I still? I'm not even on the leaderboards anymore. Someone blocked me off and I get 2 more wins tonight. Jesus. Damn. I really got to sweat, huh? That's crazy. That is actually crazy. Am I on here? What am I at? 11th on kills, okay, and then oh my god. I mean, probably, yeah. I was gonna say this sounds about right. Have you ever woke up feeling horrible? Oh yeah, of course. Damn, all games are full, bruh. Sit with that. Come on. Let me log on. It's gonna be like a insta queue. And I like leave the lobby. That was me this morning. I'm just like, I'm tired, low-key. Come on. Let me log on. Oh my god, it's not letting me log on because I don't. Teams are probably filling fast. What? Different lobby we go. Come on. Lock in. Will I am, bro. I am, bro. I will lock in. Sort of. I don't know if I am. Dude, I just woke up, bro. I'm like half asleep, bro. Hey, Jay. Hey, do you want to participate? I can't. I literally can't. I was, dude. I saw the announcement. I was going to, but I can't. I'm streaming, bro. I'm streaming. I can't stream and be in the Skippy event. Thanks, boys. I appreciate it, though. I know. I'm a dumbass, and I forgot about the Skippy event. It's 25K. All right, Luigi, you win this, and you give me half. Thoughts? Yeah, I know, AJ. I know. But I really like, dude. I gotta finish this challenge, bro. Sadly, sadly. And I had to like end the stream and stuff. Qndres, the money, yeah, but it's the stream though. You know, I already locked in. No, already locked in. Thank you though, AJ. Thank you. So I know like everyone like literally was like, "Yo, Qndres, what do you think?" I was like, "Oh, if I didn't set this challenge, dude, I would have done it." Wait, yo, AJ. Tell Skeppy to wait 8 hours. I mean, like, after I finish my challenge, then would start it. Yeah, I'm just like, perma just in this lobby, bro. It's not joining. There's no solo lobbies available. I think one's emptying out right now, though. Money? No, it's fine. I'll join the next one. I think next one's bigger, too. Okay. There you go. Come on. The server's lagging. No way. Let me join a different lobby. Super Cure. I saw this on Twitter. Was it 40 now? God damn, dude. Yeah, bro sweating. I can't even join a solo game, dude. Is that Planet Lord and Spoke? Okay. Yeah, it literally just 8 more wins, guys. Just 8 more wins. I can join a damn team game, solo game. Come on, let me join, bro. I won't be able to join, am I? Okay. If only the lobbies were like actually. Is it still 10 subs? Yes, it's 10 subs, and then after 25, it's 15, and then if it somehow gets to 30, 20 gifted per win, bro. I swear to God, bro. No. Yeah, that's why I want to just beat the challenge. K-Sauce probably wouldn't sleep early or late. I hope. Wait, there's no way it only gives me. Yeah, it literally just gives me that. I'm just gonna upload in. Wait. W, okay. Wait, I can actually buy the thing now. The token thing. The last Halloween thing. W. Oh, okay. Go here. What's up, Doubtless? What's up? What's up? What's up? Victory Royale. We'll put on the clown hat. We'll put on the Daredevil. We'll put on the. No, we'll put on that one. Spider. All right, perfect. I unlocked everything in the Halloween shop, right? Yes, I did. Pulling for you to finish the challenge today. Thank you, Megalux. Appreciate it. Oh, man, I'm in. W, I'm in. I'm in. It's up. I know. I'm in. Finally. See if we can win this game. Let's see if we can win this game. I haven't even practiced PP yet at all today. Okay, but still pass the pack. I got you. I'll put it in my Discord. Where is it? This one? Yeah, this one. This one. Hi, Claire. Are you gonna win it? I hope. I really hope I win this. Edit com. Yo, Spicy. Are you the Hoplite King? No, I'm the Hoplite God. Yo. Spicy. Hi, Spicy. Expression point. Texture pack. Hi, Spicy. Have you been playing it or not, Spicy? What have you been doing, huh? Yeah, I hopped into your stream the other day. You're playing Roblox. See, I'm not fake, bro. I know you, and I know what you do. I know where you live, and I know what you eat, and I know what you have, and I know what. You don't talk to me anymore, bro. I do. We do. I'm fake as fuck. I'm sorry, Spicy. Forgive me. I'm fake. I'm just. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've been like just fully locked in, bro. Like I have like, what is that noise? I have like videos. It's like, you don't understand, bro. You don't understand how locked in I've been. I wanted to take a break, but then like, nah, bro. Breaks don't. Oh my god. Okay, I think this is the one that has stuff in it. It's a fatal fire. Yo, dude, stop sniping me. No. I'm gonna snipe you now. Oh, you got the books, right? You got all the books. All right, cool. Got books. Got books again. Nice. I got all the books. Dude, how was Switch got bro? I didn't go, bro. I didn't go. Because I was about to go like as a non-partner, you know? I was like, nah, because I've already seen how it is, you know? It's like it's boring if you're not partner. You're kind of just there waiting for your friends. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna go. That's why I kind of went like asking everyone like if I can, you know. Well, this stream was. You have streamed for 3 days. You just beat that? No, I'm not streaming for longer than that. No, hell no. No. I'm done. After the stream, I'm just gonna stream normally. I did ask you, Spicy. I did ask you. Nah, you're crazy. Nah, that's crazy. I asked you. I texted you. Wait, no, we got like a different number. You did? Yeah, I did. I texted you. I was like, yo, let me use your, you know. And it's fine. It's fine though. It's fine. I did text you though. I did. True. You're probably busy, huh? You're probably busy. What have you been doing, by the way? What's up, Chaotic? That. Hello? There you go. Bro, I have been busy. Like, I'm telling you, like, I have been like just trying to create content. I haven't been like, I've been going to the gym like once a week, bro. Like, it's that bad. I miss Spicy, so do I. Why am I Spicy? Chat, Spicy, Spicy egoing me, chat. GG, Spicy. Wait, Spicy. Like, let's actually like lock in. Let's do some content, bro. Like, but we need to hang out IRL, bro, for real, bro. I'm down, bro. I'm telling you, I'm down. And just like, let me stop focusing on my Twitch and let's do it, bro. I know I can stop focusing for like at least a day, you know. Yo, Voma, looks to the right. Appreciate it. How was your stream? Let's do it next week. Bet. Name the day. I work on the only day I work next week is Thursday. But yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, I actually cut my hours as well for work. I cut my hours like hella. I only work like 1 day a week because I was like, I'm low-key making like more money than I am on my job, so I was like, I'm just gonna yeah. Hi, VO. Morning, VO. Good morning. Okay. He's doing. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm not gonna lie. It was like a whole instance that happened that made me like kind of mad at work, and I was like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm kind of just like wasting time. I don't know. I was like, all right, I'm just basically wasting time here, like doing like the shittiest stuff ever. And I was like, I'm just gonna like low-key like not quit. I'll just like go on demand. So I just went on demand. That's it. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty. I mean, it's paid off so far, you know. Obviously, like like there's like scary moment. It's like, oh shit, like what if I don't make? But it's like you will make enough if you know, at least try, which is why I'm trying as hard as I can right now, uploading manhunts. And now I have like another thing to upload, which is HOPLITE videos. Once I'm done streaming, I have like videos to edit or videos to give to people to edit. So it's just like, I hope like after this, it's like, it's just easy, you know. I hope it's like an automatic thing for me to do. I'm shooting my short film in 2 days. W. I wish you luck. I wish you luck. Boys still like, bro, dude. Low-key, this challenge would have already been done. Like, actually, like seriously though, this challenge would have been done. But yeah, they gifted like 100 or something. It's bridge and it's been looted already. God damn it. Yeah, it's just like beyond looted. Jesus. Wait. It's right here, right? Number 1 HOPLITE addict. That is me. Where's that chest at? Already got looted, but it's worth checking again. Oh, it could be in here. They're so screwed. Yeah, they got a nerf nether. I'm not gonna lie. Like hella nerf it though. Like I want like a nerf in strength pots and a nerf in like what else can get nerfed that's like OP? I mean, just strength pots need to get nerfed and that's it. That's literally about it. What's up though, Dink? Dink dog. Yeah, they gotta get nerfed by 50% though. Like strength is just annoying, you know? You get 3 tapped. Sharp 5, strength 2, it's the same thing. It's just two. It being sharp strength 2 being nerfed by just 15% is literally nothing, by the way, because it still does 2 levels of sharpness. So you're basically having a sharp 7 running around with a sharp 5. Or if you have a sharp 3, you have a sharp 5. So imagine sharp 3 with strength 2, like you're just winning, you know? Like right now I'm just screwed because I didn't get any gold from that bastion. It's fine though. And the win, yeah, sharp 6 is good. Goes crazy. Was it with the new one though? Was it with the new what is it called? Was it with the new buffs with it, or is it with the old buffs? Remember the old buffs had it's like a guaranteed chance of you getting wait, what? Where's 0-0? Oh, this is 0-0. It's just trolling me. Might as well used to get fixed and katana. Wait, is it Midas bug? What's the Midas bug? What's the Midas bug? Oh. There you go. It'd be a bit embarrassing to lose with that. Yeah, sharp 6 is crazy to lose. Okay. You get short 10 with 0 kills. Wait, what? Oh, is it that? I think I know what you're talking about. I think someone in my chat saying honorary stew raid. Wait, what do you mean simply? Did you just end? This to just end? He ended? Oh, I see. I think he without rating, bro's a bot. I think he's swinging an event, he said, right? Is he streaming after? Spice to hear it. Appreciate it simply. J-Bone, yeah. Bro's gonna win. Where's job? On animal kills? No, it's not. It's only on regular kills, I'm pretty sure. It's like player kills. Which I still think it's like it should drop more than just 3 or 4 emeralds, you know? Because if someone's trying to rush emerald sword and not PvP, shouldn't they like drop more emeralds? Like a 10 at least? 10 per kill? Obviously it's not Midas, it's like its own thing. Actually, maybe I'm actually wrong. Midas drops gold on. Wait, really? Wait, I didn't know that. What's up, Pain Train? So he says, then yeah, I know what you're talking about then. Also, they gotta fix the assist thing. When someone dies from a high place, some random dude gets a kill. Like I killed like 3 guys yesterday, and they all died of fall damage, and some random people just got kills. I was like, what? I was like, hold up. You're telling me I got 0 kills because okay. That's chill. I hope there's actually like new structures are pretty cool too. They're nerfing you? I know. They don't want me to get more kills. Those iron blocks. It is weird. It is weird. But yesterday, one of the moderators came into my chat. He told me that they're actually fixing that. So we're chilling. We are chilling on that one. There has to be like a new okay, me and Booster tried to do that strat where we look for fire swords in team games. No, sorry. We got fire books from villagers, but again, like we just die to people that just rush another and get strength pots. Like we can't fire aspect and strength pots just like basically I don't know, strength pots is just too OP. You can't drop anyone, you know? Like you saw yesterday before I got off, or was it the one where I comboed at 17, which also, by the way, holy shit. That game went fucking crazy. I comboed a whole 7 team and just killed them all. Oh, diamonds. I know they were mad for sure. 100% mad. I've had no good morning. This surface? That is surface. The fuck? Yo, Halo sticks. Hello. Welcome to the stream. No, but this dude. Dude, I need to make that a video for like as soon as possible. And I know the title of the video. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Wait, you're a stew chatter, no? Or am I dumb? Stew chatter question mark? Yes, you see, I'm smart. I'm so smart. Stew chatter, W. I'm looking for diamonds right now. I didn't say it. I didn't say it right, Neo. No, I didn't. I'm actually addicted to saying, bro. I can't stop saying right now. It's gonna be bad. I need to get water bucket. I can make enchants as well. Yeah, I'm addicted to that. Where I don't know why. It's just, I don't know. I guess ASM. Wait, should I just pick a sharp 3 ASAP? It just leads me to go. Okay, they go down. Everyone is here when I need to go to class. Heart been broke so many times. I don't know how to act. Wait, just don't go to class. Thoughts? Thoughts? Just don't go. Wait, just skip school for my stream. Thoughts, one? It's a troll. It's a troll. By 5 grand some. Oh! You know what? You should maybe go to class. You're right. Go to school. Go to school. Go to school. Yo. Senji, have you been adding a bunch of 7TV emotes? I swear to God, dude. Yesterday, someone said a word. It was just a 7TV emote. I was like, wait, what? How is like this random word 7TV emote? Is there an emote for every single word in the book? Maybe. Oh my God. Hi, my name is. Dude. No, yesterday the funniest thing happened. You know those chatters that come in? It's like, hey, I have a question, and then they actually like, yeah, can you read my friend? He's streaming. Like, you know those people. You know those people, like the random noobs. They just come into the stream and ask that. Yesterday, some poor random guy was literally came into the stream. He goes, hey, I have a question. Everyone, even my mods was like, all right, I'm ready. Yeah, first time advertising. Yep. I was like, all right, definitely gonna say, hey, can you rate my friend? He's live or something like that. Bro asked, yeah, what version is Minecraft on right now? I was like, oopsie. Yeah, yikes. I kind of just like called him out and everything. I felt horrible. Yeah, bro got a nut. Yo, I felt so bad. So I was like, all right, well, I just kind of roasted this guy for no reason. Bro's probably crying right now. Oh my God. And it was, so we had a new, yeah. There's a bunch of new Christmas emotes. No, oh, you know what it was? It was like the 4 peepos going around in circles. You know what I'm talking about? It's not Christmas, but Merry Christmas. What's that kid, Saucy? Oh no, please, dude. Let me just end this damn challenge. No more, please. I'm asking for no more money, please. I beg. Chat, this, okay. Realistically, this challenge was never supposed to be meant for like this long of a stream. Okay, it was meant for like a day or maybe even like 12 hours. Somehow I suck, and I guess everyone started gifting subs, and I was like, oh well, this just turned into a damn subathon. 2 out of 10.
Saucy_21 has gifted a sub to Untrackers.
Okay, well, okay, there it is. We're gonna start trolling, or we're done trolling now? Please. Yes, it's 10 subs now. Yep, it's gotten that bad. It went from 5 to 7 to 10. Party, please. That's the one. Is that Christmas themed? Why is it so cute? Like what? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Saucy
You get to win to Rahil. He's a fraud.
Gifted a sub to Rahil.
Thank you for getting us up to Rahil. Thank you. Rahil got one. Yeah, Rahil was my stream the other day. Wait, Swan, do you know I partied with them? Like back in June? We got very drunk. Sorry, I got very drunk. That's about it. Yeah. I partied with Rahil. It's pretty crazy. What was the invite? There was no invite. Harvey was there too. I partied with Harvey. And I got drunk. How was sleep, Qndres? It was actually mid. I couldn't fall asleep. The light of my stream was like just going off. I was like, bruh. So I couldn't sleep well, but it's fine. And there was also, it's fine. Whatever. It's whatever. It's whatever. I'm streaming. It's fine. Do I just go with sharp 2? Surely not, right? Ow. Wait, you didn't turn? No, I don't turn. No, I can't. Because if I turn off one monitor, they all go. I'm not sure what you guys will be seeing. Okay. All right. That's chill, I guess. That's nice. That's nice of HOPLITE to give me that. Okay. Okay. Sticks. Okay. Sticks. Okay. New emote, sticks. Put a blanket. Oh wait, you're actually cooking right now. I'm not getting string. I suck with the bow anyways. Yo, how did I get the sword, by the way? What? All right, stick axe. Yep. Chat. They don't know the origin story of stick axe. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's pretty like self-telling. I also, hi Chloe. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you. I'm fake. Okay. Chickens. Dude, that's crazy. You went on a win streak yesterday, but you used to have. I know. Because you kept gifting, bruh. Venu, I said hi to you, Venu. Venu, you're fake, Venu. Venu, you said hi to Booster, but not me. You came to the stream and said hi to Booster, did not say hi to me. That is fake. Brock. Oh no. Well, there's Chloe's emote. What? There's people right there fighting. Chad, you guys like Eden? I fucking love Eden. I'm going to another concert of his. If we... Bro. It was lagging a little bit. Hey, you guys, katana. You can't water with leaves, bro. Come here. Come here, boy. Wait. No, we blow this guy, right? What's that for? Oh my god, server's so laggy. He's still on 4. I'm chasing this guy. I need this guy's katana. This guy can't get any more kills. No way. Nah. Come on. It's on 5. Please. Please, I need your dragon katana. This is where that bow would have been clutch. Yeah, but I'm getting chased. Yo, Chai, kill this guy with dragon katana. I'm pretty much set, right? It was bringing me back to 0-0. He had another. Oh, this guy got Bastion loot then. Not 15 again. Yeah, I think this guy got the gold from the Bastion. Oh, fuck. He's gonna heal to full, I think. He's at 18 now. 19, yeah, he gapped again. Bro! Okay, now this is with the one piece is chasing me. I think he bows me here once. No! It's Strats. Who is this guy? Is he good, do some? Dude, he's on 2 HP, bro. He's still running. 1.8 player? Oh, no wonder. No wonder. The 1.8ers love to run, huh? Ha. Like, look at this! All right. I'm chasing this guy forever. He has like all the gold in the game. And the katana as well. He's healing again for the 5th time. They're on turn on me here. I'm fucking dead here. Fuck, I have no healing. I have an idea. It might not work though. Monkus. Oh no, you just ran? Yep. I got out. Oh. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, that'll hit me once. Oh! Wait, I don't die here, right? Please. Okay, how does he get the kill, by the way? Wait, what? How did he get a kill? It's fine. We're chilling. Oh my god, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I just didn't rush another good. Yo, Duzum, get on. Please carry me to 8 more wins. Please, Duzum. Get me out of this. Please, Duzum. Please, 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 Duzum. Please, please. Please, Duzum. Please, dude. Please carry me to a win. The poor desk. Bro, no, not again like yesterday, bro. Dude, the server died yesterday and oh, it died. It actually died. Dude, oh my god. And now I have to stand here and do nothing for the next like hours. Yes, it's dying again like yesterday, bro. More subs. Or 8 more subs now. And yeah, it's every 10 subs increase the sub. Yeah. Love it. I love it here. Yep. Regret. Yes. 100%. Bro, why don't you just sieve and drag pot rush? Because I need team. My friends are all busy with the Skeppy event. Hey, guess what? I actually would have been in that Skeppy event, but I've been streaming for 4 days, bro. 4 days. Oh. He's scamming? I'm not scamming. No, it went up because, dude, I've realized. No, you could go to the event. No, it's already too late. It already started like 17 minutes ago. We'll just wait. No. I don't want to end stream again. I do not want to end stream. It's not, that's not it. Ending stream. No, I put myself in this challenge and I gotta complete it now. I gotta complete the challenge. It's probably gonna get to 25 soon. What do you mean by that? No. You could have won money, Andy. I'm not gonna win money. I'll be honest. There's a bunch of tryhards there. All right, 8 wins. If the server opens up, please. Like, what do I do in the meantime while we wait for the server to load up? It's happening again. What is happening every time this time? Status updates. Oh no. Yeah, 300 people just got kicked. That's not good. Rip. Yo, Ainhall, thanks for the tier 1. Hello. Chat, what are we at now?
Einhall just subscribed.
Hypixie? No. What's up? Yeah, what's up, Ainhall? Gifting start? No, I'm not. No. Dude, this server is just not it. No. Is no. I'm not putting myself through this again. Dude, there's not even enough players to even start a solo game. That's kind of yikes. Wait, what's that one server that has Skywars? Isn't it? It's CubeCraft. There we go. That's what it's called. There we go. No, we're not. No, if I do a manhunt, I'm just gonna die, bro. You guys are just gonna kill me, dude. And it's gonna take longer than an hour. And I just, yeah, you got 15 star on Hype. Where is it at? That's 6-7. Soul Scours. Damn, did they change the server? Jesus. Wait, what is this? Voting. Okay. Play Hypixel zombies? No. I will not be watching your video with Yellow. Sorry. Wait, what is this? Bucket. Okay. Can someone let me know when the server's back up? I'm not playing Cops versus Crims. Wait, why are you playing CubeCraft now? Because the server's down. When it went down, the server went down. Wait, server, wait, song's banger. Wait, what? So wait, the song's actually fire. What? Wait, well, there you go. Wait, this actually might be a PvP song. A beat song, whatever it's called. Uh-oh. GG's. What happened? The server went down. The server went down. Server went down. See it. Wait, maybe. Surely, right? Dude, I just want to be. Oh, wait, logging in. Oh, encrypting. Wait, unless. Is it going to give me world joining world? Yo, I'm hungry, bro. I'm really hungry right now. I gotta order something again. Yo, why is ordering so expensive nowadays? A little, dude, I tried ordering a salad the other day. Shit was like 20 bucks. What? Oh, shit. It's like they add like the California tax. They add the delivery service tax. That doesn't count for the delivery fee, by the way, which is also delivery fee on top of that. And then it's the tip. So it's like 4 things just piled up. Let's just make it at home. Yeah, let me just buy a salad. Let me just buy everything right now. Order food went soon. It hurts in the head after a whole halo sticks. Wait. Oh, I get it, because the sticks is halos. Gotcha. Delivery is such a robbery? Sure it is. Wait, what? I just thought of an idea. What if I just like stream myself delivering food? Wait, that's surely that hits, right? And I can make highlights of me. Yo. Will I actually get banned? Maybe. Maybe I'll get banned. Will I? Well, like I won't read like the phone when I'm. Maybe. Yeah, I seen that shorts guy. I would be doxing the house, every single house I went to. You're right. No, but I have seen the that short YouTube short guy. He does himself delivering food on a bicycle though. I'll be honest with you, I don't live in a town, like I don't live in a small city, so I don't know. I feel like it's like easy to, I don't know. You know what? I'm not gonna do that. Can I just become a HOPLITE streamer, please? And let me stream server. You in Cali? Yeah, but my city though is like everything's just so separated. Like my city is like houses, 5 miles away, mall, Target, and then we have like, that's it. A mall and Target. That's all I really get. That's all there is near me. I live in the Bay, and yeah, it's the same. Yeah, my city's really small. It's not small, but like I live in the part where it's like small, my part, you know? HOPLITE. I love HOPLITE. Yeah, we do, yeah. We do. I wish I lived like in somewhere around LA. All my friends live in LA, bro. I'm the only one out here in the desert, and I hate it here. I hate the desert. It's so damn hot. Yep, Target. I work at Target. Well, not anymore. Well, I do, but not anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I work 1 day a week-ish kind of deal. Wait, can you play Christmas music now? Hold on. Christmas music. I think it's time for some Christmas music. It's November 2nd. I think it's time. It's time for some Christmas music. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Merry Christmas. It's time for some music. Some Christmas music. It's mid as fuck. This song's mid. Okay. I mean, Elvis is like mid. It's November. Same thing. Mariah Carey, I got you. Wait. Christmas music. Oh, I got you. Yeah, I heard. Stu, please play with me, Stu. Yes, I am. Stu, can you please play with me, dude? Stu, I gotta get 8 wins, dude, so I can end the damn stream. Please play with me. I know. Dude, I wanted to join that event, dude, but I had to stay here and stream. I need it. Yo, me, you do some after that event, please. Please, dude. I don't know why I did this to myself, Stu. Hey, wait. Stop being in my stream and lock the fuck in. Win 25,000 already. No, I can't end, Stu. It's a subathon, bro. It's basically a subathon. I can't end, bro. Yeah, it's 25,000. No, I can't. No, I can't. I'm not ending. Just do even what HOPLITE is on. Yeah. Hold on, what event? Just end. I can't. I can't. I'm gonna call a scammer for the rest of my life. I don't want that. Or I guess I can, technically speaking, what if I end, I come back? Thoughts, chat? Chat, HOPLITE is down, just went down so you can play the event. But I can't stream it though. I can't stream it. Do it? Okay, bet. Okay, fine. Wait. Wait, Stuart, can I still get in? Oh yeah, okay. Bet. Okay. Chat. I'll be back later. What version? I'll be back like in 30 minutes. Okay. Everyone. It's on my Discord. Okay. I'm gonna join this event, and if I don't win, no. If I win this event, I'll give you guys like 10 subs. Okay. That's okay. No.